Okay, we are live.
Okay, yes, we are live. So, hi everyone, welcome to Fireside Chat with Yali Alumni, and I have Mr. Real One and Diane S.A. Darlington. We have been on the Yali program, and it's really been an interesting one. We've had a lot of leadership experience. So when you learn from Yali, you learn ethical leadership and then you get to also practice what you've learned. And it's something that you cannot just help but apply in your personal life, in the workplace, and even in your community. So this is our way of giving back to society because we know that a lot of people want to get on the program, but not everyone has the opportunity. There are reasons why some people are not being selected. So we would also be sharing how we got on board, what we did differently, and it's something you can take from us because we've worked the part here and
Yeah.
we are in good position to tell you how it works. So we're going to start with Nana and what leadership for you and how do you apply it to your personal life, personal leadership?
Yes. So thank you so much, Onyinye, for the opportunity to be on your Yali project and giving back to the community is a wonderful thing you are doing. And so Yali is a great opportunity to let me just give a brief background. Yali is a great opportunity for young leaders in Africa to explore their given talent, skills, and expertise to make impacts within the community that they serve. And you don't necessarily need to be up there before you get into the Yali program because it's an innovative program that is using the least opportunity to garner your skills to be prepared to make influence in the community you serve. So for me, when it comes to Yali, I would say I've learned a lot and personal leadership in this regard to your question. I would say leadership simply means having an agenda, a vision, and then an aim towards it. So I have a foresight that I am going to this direction. I should have a direction like a map that will lead me to that place. So in order for me to not get lost in the way, I need to have like a careful thought out plan. So that's more like a vision or a goal and what I am going to achieve at the end of that journey. So for me, personal leadership is being self-aware, one, being very self-aware and knowing what you want to achieve and actually preparing towards it through careful thought out plans like your ideas or your goals or your vision. And in that case, when you are very self aware of what you tend to want to do, you'll be able to lead others. Because if you're not aware of what you want, then leading others become very difficult. So that's the personal leadership for me and sticking to a plan and making sure that at the end of the day, you're achieving your set out goal, basically.
Okay. Awesome. So it's more like knowing you first and
Exactly.
then planning. So is it just about what's this planning about? I think it's all we need to break down. So someone doesn't think, okay, at the end of the year I should buy Benz and probably I need to start planning to save money. Is it about
Yeah.
you as a person, how you talk to people? Like where does it really start from?
Yes. So from the aspect of personal leadership, you can look at it in your relation with people, just like you mentioned, your personal relationship with others, how you are able to interact with people at the workplace, also your various ethical conducts that guide your usual leadership aspects. So planning is not necessarily, let's say, getting logistics or anything. Like personally, if I say I'm planning towards being a good leader, first I should be time conscious of what I want to get gathered. Secondly, like I said, self-awareness, how you talk to people in the community setting, in the workplace, normal interactions with your friends and colleagues. It's also a planning aspect. And then also putting down like I always say, writing down or having like a memo of what you want to do helps to give you like a foresight of what you are doing, what you can do better, and how to make effective changes in the course of your progress. So let me use a scenario so that it's much easier for us to understand.
Okay.
So I personally, from before I got into Yali, I was doing a lot of my health education. So I do a lot of health education using social media, and then also when I have the chance to do volunteering activities through non NGOs and radio station, I have the opportunity to go there to educate people. So when I started, I was thinking there should be something big, like I need to get a lot of logistics in place to be able to start. But I realized that as little as planning, being conscious of what I can do very well, like public speaking, and also utilizing that aspect to help me get on social media like LinkedIn. When I got on LinkedIn, it was very difficult for me at first because I didn't have a lot of following and I didn't know how to even start. But because I was having like a goal, so that goal helped me to make effective progress, and then I was able to use that yardstick to track whether I was on point or I was doing something that I could do better. So basically, I felt in that way I'm giving out to society, and to me, that's leading because at the end of the day, people are listening to what I tell them to do in terms of making good lifestyle choices and making effective changes to their health, which they will otherwise can choose to ignore. But because I have given like a clear cut um plan that if you're doing this and that, at the end of the day, it's going to help improve your health measures and all that, you tend to have people who listen to you and they follow suit. So to me, that's like the personal leadership aspect, knowing yourself well before you can actually influence others. If you don't know yourself perfectly and you don't know a particular objective to which you are setting out to do, you can't effectively get people to buy in your ideas or your vision, and at the end of the day you probably not get the maximum effect that you want. So basically, that's, I think I'm talking too much, but yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, I think we needed too much talk, right? So we can get out everything.
Yeah.
So you're talking about knowing yourself and then the skills you need to acquire. And I like the fact that you mentioned the LinkedIn and how you got on it, and it took you time because at the time you didn't have a lot of following, but then you weren't discouraged.
Yeah.
So that's like a discipline in the aspect of personal leadership. But you mentioned the workplace, and I think the workplace is one of the toughest place to interact with people on,
Right.
because we have people from different background and they would really, really want to get on your nerves. They might not even know they are doing it, but then even if they are doing it, they still don't care. So, real one, what do you think about leading in the workplace and being ethical? I think there's a lot to learn about on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Oyinye, for the opportunity and listening to Nana. It's been, I think she's done justice to that in with regards to personal. But again, my name is Rilwan Abu, and I am a Yali alumnus, cohort 11. That was in 2018. So I've been
Wow.
part of the Yali family for 6 years now. Yeah, having
Wow.
started in academic 2018.
I think we should clap for
And
you. That's our
speaking
Yes,
senior,
I
to
right?
believe so. Yeah.
so yeah, and I would say Yali is an amazing platform that everyone should have the opportunity to get on. But sadly, not everyone that tries to get in ends up being selected. And I do hope that when we're done with this conversation today, and maybe continuous conversations from now, people will be well positioned
Sorry, I
to
don't know if I'm
apply
the only person struggling to hear real
and
one,
get
or
selected.
I can hear him perfectly.
Nana, can you hear him? You can hear
Yeah,
him clearly,
perfect.
so it's me. Okay, Rowan, please go ahead. Let me sort myself out.
Okay, I'll proceed. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So, speaking to leadership, ethical leadership at the workplace, positioning yourself. For me, again, I would start off with how I see leadership. Basically, it's positioning yourself for positive impact. And at the workplace, what you do basically, first off, for me, I usually look at it that okay, you are dealing with a diverse group of people, whether you're working remotely, as the way we have it now, or you're working on site, you're going to need a lot of people skills, which, in other words, you need all of these skills to help you become a better leader, an ethical leader at that. And then you look at it that, okay, what does even ethical leadership entail in the first instance, right? And that is
Right.
you leading with integrity, with accountability, with respect for others, and all of that. So I would say that at the workplace, you staying um, being an ethical leader at the workplace would revolve around your ability, one, to be a good team player, and then also have integrity, respect, and respect for others, being empathetic as well. But importantly, what you need as an individual working in a corporate setting is the ability to be a good team player, first off, right? Because you are going to need people, even though that would require you as a professional, work requires that you are able to do a lot of things independently, but then you are going to get a lot done and you're going to see yourself working in teams, and you would get a lot done when you are able to integrate with teams, understand your team members, and being able to, influence change within your team. So I would say it's all about, first off, self-awareness, like Nana pointed earlier. You need to be really aware of the people you are dealing with, at your workplace, what is expected of you, following the standard operating procedure of your work, and all of the laid down rules. And then also respecting people's boundaries, respecting people's opinions, and all of that. That no one's, I think, is one of the key things I learned from the Yali program, that no one's opinion is a waste, or it doesn't matter. Every opinion counts, and for
Yeah.
everything you say, you don't always get, oh, this is wrong, or you didn't, hit the nail on the head. No, we appreciate you, we encourage you. So that way you are able to, integrate seamlessly into the group, and then you're able to contribute and lead the group as well. So I think that's about it for looking at it from that angle, just the preamble, and then we get to delve deeper into it. Miss Onyinye back.
Right. I don't think she's back, but I would want to agree with what you said about understanding boundaries and also respecting people's opinion. And that's really true because
Yeah,
there's no wrong opinion or there's no wrong feedback. But then it brings me to having the opportunity to give constructive feedback to people and also knowing when and the place to give those feedback. So let's say at the workplaces, sometimes your colleague may do something that or may err, and you'll not be very excited about that. But the approach to going to respond to such would be very respectful, other than confronting them in the office space where all other colleagues are there, and drawing attention to yourself with maybe a very rough way of addressing it. You can actually look at a different approach that will help resolve the conflict without you being negative towards the person, because at the end of the day it's still the same workplace that you be with the same person, and then you don't want to have like negative energies that will hinder the whole working ethics. So yes, I agree to that. And also opinions, people feel sometimes they are left out in decision makings because they feel the decision is supposed to be made by so-called those in up places, leaders, or those, let's say, the stakeholders and all that. But sometimes, like you rightly said, your little opinion into a subject matter is very good, because at the end of the day, what you might say might be like the icing on the cake that we just needed to make that final conclusion. So people
yeah,
should be very vocal at the workplaces and also share in the mission and vision whenever necessary, and not always relent or stay back and not be given these kind of opinions when needed. So I agree to what um, Abu said. Right. Yeah, back. Good to have you.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think
So
Kanye is
now I'm back. I
back.
don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, maybe I have a little catching up to do. But yes, I agree with what Abu said, right? I can't
Yeah.
disagree. I agree with what
Yeah.
you said. So probably I want to believe from
yeah. I
what
was even going
you
to
were
add
saying.
also.
Okay,
Mm. Yeah, if you'd
please
allow
go
me, I
ahead,
was going
William.
to add also just to buttress what Nana said concerning how you give constructive, feedback to your colleagues at the place of work. It's important for us to know that people most times do not remember what you said to them, but
How?
the how you said it to them, yeah, usually stays with them, a longer time. And then you'd begin to imagine that, okay, if you shut people off all of the time, you're not encouraging, teamwork, you're not encouraging team spirit. And then people, even with their, when they have good ideas, they would not want to share because one, you, the leader in that space, you do not encourage, diverse opinions, and which is not a good feature of an ethical leader. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's true. Because if you're that person who is leading and you feel like every opinion should come from you, when it doesn't come from you, some people just feel like you're trying to take the shine from them. Because if you have this brilliant or fantastic idea, the credit is going to you. But then within the workplace, it's an us thing. It's about us, it's for everybody, and it's the team. So sometimes people would because they don't want to probably say something that would be rejected, because rejection comes in different ways, or people
Yeah.
manage rejection differently. They will now want to hold back and the work would be suffering. And really
Yeah.
talking about rejection, I don't know, but how many times did you apply to Yali and were you ever rejected?
Right. Okay, let's take the gentleman first. Since he's been in Yali for quite a long time, we want to hear from him and then I'll go.
Okay, so you're saying we should start from real one
Okay.
and
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I will go first and share my experience in that regard. Yeah. So I think it was the second attempt that I got in. Yeah, so when I applied the first time, I got the rejection. We usually, jokingly refer to it as a love letter. Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
know,
when
yeah.
they tell you you're sorry, you won't be able to continue with, yeah. So, but then that first time, I think, reflecting on it, because I didn't make it to the interviews the first time. Yeah, but then again, I had to, go back and, reflect that, okay, what did I do wrong or what did I not do right? And, during my application and all of that, because at the time I was volunteering for two organizations, actively, working, positioning myself for influence and all of that, because one, I believe in the, you know, um, preparing yourself for opportunities, because most times people will say, okay, this thing is luck, but then to me I see it as luck for me is determination meeting opportunities. So when you are determined to
Right.
prepare yourself, you position yourself, but when the
Uh,
opportunity comes, you just hit it. So it was my second attempt that I got in, and I would say that, yeah, when I looked at my essays from the first application and then looked at the second one,
Yeah.
I couldn't even agree more, and yeah, I said that, okay, yeah, this is actually better.
Yeah.
so if you were part of the selection team, you wouldn't have selected yourself on the first one.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what he's
I wouldn't.
saying.
Yes. Okay,
Right.
so what did you do differently, real one? What exactly did you do differently?
Yeah, so again, I had to, tell my story very strongly, because sometimes we find ourselves doing a lot of things, so many things at a time, creating all of the, having all of the impact on our community, individuals, the people we mentor, and all of that. But when it comes to weaving all of this into a compelling story, it becomes an issue for, many of the applicants,
Sure.
which was an issue for me at the time as well. So yeah, I had to go back and see how I could tell my story, in a more compelling way, and try to go all out and not holding back on things, because again, one of the first mistakes I made in the first application was trying to be so modest about talking about the things I do. I'll be like, "Well, there's no need putting all of this out there and all of that," but then this is the committee getting to know you. So if you don't tell everything as it is, well, you it shouldn't be that it shouldn't give the vibes of you not being humble, yeah, when telling your stories. But then if you don't tell these things, they won't get to know, yeah. So I would say storytelling, compelling storytelling, was the thing for me, again, when I applied, and yeah, it worked.
Wow,
Right.
amazing. So just say it, everything you've done. Don't be too humble and modest because they wouldn't you don't even get them to talk with you. Some people might just
Yeah.
want to like, okay, when it's
Yeah,
time for the interview, I can tell them. But you don't get to the interview because you don't know what other
yeah,
people are writing. All right, Nana.
truly.
Right. So with mine, I would say I don't know if I was lucky, but I think, like rightly said, like we once said, it's preparation meeting opportunities. So I won't say I was lucky because that was my first attempt and I got in.
Wow,
Yes.
amazing.
and and I want to mention that it's because I have had like experiences applying to the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So I had
Okay.
like how to go about it and all that. So my essays, because at Mandela Washington Fellowship, I've applied twice and I was unsuccessful at that. So then, using the basics of Yali RLC's application process, I realized it was more like Mandela's own. So it wasn't like a lot of work for me because I had already gathered my story, I had already put down my expertise. And like he says, don't be modest in what you put into your essays. Like, go all out. The little that you've done, you can actually magnify it with a bigger lens for them to appreciate it. So instead of saying something scanty and not and also downplaying some of the work that you've done, especially when it comes to volunteering experiences and community services. People think you need to be like in a physical space to actually be like relevant in volunteering. But you being virtual also is a form of volunteering. So how you magnify that also goes a long way to help you in the essay. So my essay was very detailed and I put together all the things that I've done and I used the smart approach. So even to the extent where I do not recall exactly, like let's say I had a blog. So my blog, I had to go and check the analytics to see how many people have visited my website and all that. And I put all those details in my essay that my blog had reached to these number of people through my nutrition education, coupled with my volunteering work with a radio station, doing a nutrition talk with them, and also volunteering to do community health engagement programs during my service with the community during the for diabetes and all that. I was able to gather all those together and use measurable quantities to say that indeed I reached out to this number of people. Uh-huh. So basically,
Okay, I think some people just got home. Yeah, let's just wait for her a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Okay, my night's back.
Your mic
yeah,
is muted.
Yeah.
I just realized. Yes. So a
Okay.
few people just entered the house. So there's a little noise. Yes. So I was saying through the process of making, like magnifying the little that I have done, I was able to put out a strong storyline and also be able to indicate the impact that I had made and what I seek to do in the future. And one of the questions that I was going through the questions quickly to be sure if what I put there was really something that I was doing then, and I feel I overemphasized some things, like I magnified it too big. But yeah, that is what I agreed to. Abu saying, don't be modest, but then you should also know that what you're writing is credible, so that it's not that you are just putting information out there just to get into the program. Yeah,
Oh, amazing. So I want to say my own now because I had applied.
yeah,
I think I've applied about 3 times or 4 times
wow,
before I got in. So I was really very humble. Oh, I was very humble. The first application, if I were to select 100, I wouldn't have selected myself, judging by what I did with the last one. So everything, I had a lot of things I had done, but let me say I wasn't paying attention to them, or I felt they were not even important. So with time, I might just write and decide to add this one or decide to add that one. But this last time, I said, okay, what I'm going to do is get a brag sheet. I'm not being modest this time. It is okay
exactly.
for me to be proud. I got a brag sheet, and on my brag sheet, I had everything I had done. It does not matter when even if I did it in 2018 or 2017, I can write it, write the date, write the number, write the people, the community, location. In case you want to do your due diligence, please go ahead. If these people have records, they will tell you that we were there.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I was the person who championed this thing, but I was part of the people who
of the
executed it.
team, exactly.
Yes, I was part of the team. So and the brag sheet helped me. So I now knew, it helped me remember the things I did, and I've even forgotten about it. So when I was writing my story, I am telling you everything I've done as a volunteer, because I actually removed all of that as if it's not relevant. Even if it were to be a 1 day volunteering, I wasn't so interested in reporting it as a 1 day volunteering, because there are people who volunteer to do something for 3 months, and probably the program holds like 2 hours a week, and in 3 months they end up working for let's say 12 hours in 3 months, and they can write they volunteered or they worked on this for 3 months, and it's big. And I volunteered for 1 day or 2 days, and I worked for, let's say, 32 hours. My 1 day volunteering, I'll tell you,
It's a
I,
lot.
I had to write it. I volunteered for 15 hours, starting from when I went there. I was standing, I was doing the work. So you know that I committed my time to doing this thing. And at the end,
Yeah.
we have results. I can show the impact. This is what it is. If you want it, because they had to ask me for links to the things I said at the time of my interview. And I was so glad to share these links with them. Probably it sounded like too good, but then there's evidence. So it's not
Yeah.
something that was made up. If it's 12 hours, it's written there, 12 hours. If it's not 1 week, if I'm calculating it in hours, I can even write
Yeah.
30 hours, 58 seconds. This
Yeah.
is the number of time I volunteered for this. And when people see that the hours shows commitment. I actually
Right.
committed to doing this thing because it took my time. If it's that, and then some people might just want to start writing from probably the very day the event happened. I mean, 2 months we are planning this thing, and I was running around meeting people, asking questions, trying to get people on board, checking up with the panelists. Are you coming? When are you coming? Do you have a is it not part of the work?
Yeah.
I
Project
have it.
planning.
Yes. And I have time I devote to doing it. Let's say every day, 2 hours to reaching out to the panelists or the people on the social media platform. You're running campaigns, you're designing. You don't even get to sleep at times because that's the time when probably you have a brainwave and you're writing down the ideas immediately as they are coming. I wrote all of
Yeah.
that, and I'm glad I did. So they saw this thing. Probably it now looked more detailed, and it
Yeah.
shows that this person really did the work because I know what I did. I'm not just saying it like I did this, I did this. From the details, you can tell that this person committed to doing this thing and this person really did it. So when I came for my interview, it was a question of, oh, you said you did this and did that. Yes. Okay, how did it go? I tell you how it went. Do you have a proof? Can I share the links here, or is there a way I can share the link? And it was easy getting on. That's how it went for me.
Oh, great. So you see, and you were able to, weave everything into a compelling story, providing all of the data, to back up everything you did. So I would also say that is very important. And also add that with all of the impactful work you do, I also know from experience that the Yali program is also big on personal skills, interpersonal skills. Because
Yes.
one, you may be that expert, the technical know-how is there already. But how do you mobilize people? How do you interact with people? And that is where you now see that your people skills, your interpersonal skills become handy. And then you need to be able to communicate these in your application, because I know there's a
Yes.
section for interpersonal skills and leadership skills where you give examples of how you apply all of these interpersonal skills. But again, if you are not honest during your application, then it's going to be obvious during your interview. Because one, if you don't embody these interpersonal skills, you won't be able to speak to them freely and even give
That's
instances
true.
of when you use them. You may want to say, okay, I'm empathetic. Okay, give us instances. Are you able to? You may call yourself, you have respect for people and all of that. But then when they ask you to now paint a picture of it, it becomes difficult and people look out. So especially if you make it and then you get on site and you don't have all of these things, it becomes a big trouble, dealing with people, whether you're on site or even while you talk virtually. I can tell by communicating with people virtually whether they are rude or they are not empathetic and all of that. You're able to tell, you know. I think it's the same thing
That's
for you
true.
guys. You should be able to tell, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You can tell when someone is being insensitive because probably
Correct.
they're saying something really somebody's saying something that really affects them, and you're now coming to probably make jest of them, or you're sweeping what they're saying under the carpet because you feel it's not what should be discussed at the time. There are times when people just like seize every opportunity to express themselves because that's the only way they can get to unwind, will I say, or probably ease themselves. So if they're staying in the midst of a conversation, it's okay to let this person know that we understand this, you went through this, it's not really a pleasant one. Is this something you'd like me to talk about with you privately? Because at the moment we're talking about XYZ and we wouldn't want to complicate issues or get lost. So the conversation is not going in another direction. This person will know, oh, fine. Or you just call the person's attention to what the main subject is. So they don't bring distraction rather than saying, please carry your personal problem, or everybody has a personal problem, so why you sharing? So it
Yeah.
just shows that
Right.
you're not empathetic. Even if you have it boldly written, I am an empath, it's not
True.
there. It's not
Yeah.
there.
That's true.
That's matching your words
Yes.
with actions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think someone who is planning on getting on the yearly program should pay attention to? So we like start with the senior in the room, right?
Yes. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think first thing for me is knowing what the body is looking out for. Yearly in this case. So what is it they are really looking out for? You should even first off go through the eligibility check to see, are you even eligible? Do you have what it takes so that you don't waste the limited time you have, putting in all of the application and then realizing that you're not even eligible in the first place. So yeah, that's I think that's the first thing you need to take off. Then again, for me, intentionality and doing stuff, preparing yourself, like when you say preparation, meeting, opportunity, and all of that, it's not when you hear the call for application that you're going to start, giving to the community, being impactful, and all of that. This is something you have to be intentional about from a long time, I would say. So if you are listening now, you're watching us now, and you have the intention of, joining the Yali program, I think now is more like the next perfect time for you to, start thinking of how you can give of yourself to the community. Because trust me, there are a lot of things people do, but when you make them about yourself, they don't really count unless you are able to say, okay, how do you translate this beyond yourself? How do you think beyond you? That yeah, because when you are not thinking for the next person, that you're doing community, then you've not really understood life, I would say. And then so position yourself and then start, you know, being impactful. It could be in the form of you volunteering for organizations that are doing things that align with your interest. Okay, so you have that experience because these are the things that you put out there. You need to, as you are gaining these experiences, you put them out there, put them on social media, so that people get to see. We thank God for the technology. And I could recall vividly during my interview, one of the panelists went on my Facebook page while we were talking and said, Real one, I'm currently looking at your profile. I can see the things you've posted in the past. I think I can say like your three most recent posts. And I could see there was one where you posted a picture of yourself with school children and all of that. I said yes, because then I was a peer educator, and I was teaching children, I was teaching kids in school, adolescent health, reproductive health, HIV prevention and awareness, all of that. So I had pictures. I had media to share on my social media, telling the story of what we did, what was the problem, what approach did we use, and what were the results we got. So she was like, okay, yeah, I can see this. So walk me through it. And again, that is you being intentional and also telling your story. So you have to be able to position yourself so that when they ask these questions and try to corroborate the things you have in your application, then it becomes so easy for you to say them. Then another thing I would add is talking to people again and seeking mentorship, seeking guide. Yeah, people that have been on the program, a lot of them are bound. Yeah, I think we've had several cohorts of the Yali program. It's been ongoing since I think 2014 or thereabout. Yeah,
I
2014,
think so.
2016. Yeah, so the we have alumni, be it here in whether you're from Nigeria or wherever you're from. I think for us now it's the West Africa. So you have people that you can talk to, network, get on the Yali network page on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I think that of Facebook is more active. You get to talk to people directly and get feedback. There you could seek out mentors that would guide you through your application process. Again, you could have all of the experiences and the skills, but then you may also find the tips you get from people that have been on the program very invaluable in your application process. And lastly, I would say that you have to again be intentional, continuous learning, educating yourself, taking interest in your community. Because whatever you're going to say, it has to reflect, it has to come off as you being someone that has a particular interest in the growth and development of your community. because that in the end is what really matters. It's not about you. Life is not about you, but how you make other people feel, how you make your community great, in your own little ways. So you have to be big on that, and you have to emphasize that, to make you stand any good chance of being selected.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Right.
Thank you,
I think
Nana.
the senior has said almost everything, but I just want to, I just want to reiterate what he said about having, let's say, the pictures like to prove everything that you've done in the past. So at first, I felt it was very unnecessary to be doing a volunteering work in snapping for the graduation pictures. But
I think a lot of people feel like that too. You just feel like
Yeah,
you're doing too much,
yeah, and
or
like you're bragging about the things you do.
yes, or your life is outside. You feel like
You
your life
know,
is
but then
outside.
yeah, but then you need to put them out there, and just put them out there. So long
And I
you
think
see that social impact, put them out there.
yes,
It also inspire other people to want to take up the initiative and do the things you do, and that way you'd see that the community gets better and the society is a better place for everyone.
and it can even help you to grow your idea, because there are people who just see this thing you're doing and they're interested in working with you on it. It's something they would like to do. It's something they don't mind doing. But if
Yeah,
they don't even know that you do it, they'll be so reluctant about doing it, and they don't just know. But okay, can I volunteer? Now you start
yeah,
having people volunteering for you. You feel you're not doing something big, but there are people who are also interested in the small things too. So,
mhm,
and another
yeah,
thing I feel they check is the date. So if
yeah,
you're just that person who is putting out, Yali just made an announcement and you're flooding your pictures, they're checking the date. 1st of June,
yeah.
25
Obviously,
pictures. 2nd of
yeah, yeah.
June, 30 pictures. You just came. You
There is an
just came.
agenda there. Yeah, there is.
Yes. It
So
seems
it's something that
there's
should
some
come through, I think. So it's why I stressed earlier that if you're interested in applying to the Yali program and you've not been doing stuff, you've not been volunteering, you've not been doing any impactful work, beyond yourself, I think now is the time to start reaching out to organizations. You could even start up something within your own spare, your space. It could be a sensitization program for your community, for young girls, for young people, you know, and all of that. You could just start off something, and before you know it, gain momentum, able to gain confidence, in the things you do, and then you also get to tell your story. And when it is time for you to apply, you may even send an application next week, and you just started out today. So I think the best thing is for you to realize that, oh no, I am not ready for this particular one, because you don't have what it takes at that point. Yeah, unless you just want to try your luck. Well, there's nothing wrong in trying. You could, okay, maybe you want to gain experience in the application process, so you can just go ahead and apply and see whether you get in or not. Who knows? Yeah, there are a lot of
yeah.
factors that may influence one's application. So you could even apply and get in. Yeah, that's just it. But then I think it would be best for you to be able to, put in a good application, and also that when you eventually make it in, how do you interact with people? Because you're going to see people of like minds, people doing things, people volunteering for organizations, people, running their own organizations, and sharing their impact stories. But you may just end up finding yourself mute in all of this because you don't even have anything to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
So again, aside from you just jumping on the application within a week or two, you need to have substance to give, right? Yeah. So I think,
Yes, I think another thing is even compromise. So you just see this application and you've walked through it. Like you said, go through the application and know if you're eligible. And you know that you're not eligible. You know.
yeah,
So why are you trying to tweak things and tweak things and tweak things? you're making up stories, probably, oh, I know somebody that is within this NGO space, or somebody that owns this community. I please, can I act as your community manager, and this and this and that. And you're
That's
having all of that
you being
there.
unethical in the first place. And I think one of the things we're looking out for is, well, we need ethical leaders in the society, people
Yes,
that would lead with integrity, with honesty, with transparency. And then again, you are being able to account for the things you do. You take responsibilities for your actions. So anything built on deceit will definitely fall, one way or the other.
absolutely. It will. So you wouldn't get it, because the first way to screen you out, if mistakenly you get to the interview stage, you cannot talk what is happening in the organization. You cannot
Mhm.
tell what is happening there. If you say you worked in this capacity, and let's say it's just your first time of probably trying to get into that space, and you're saying you've done this and you've done that, there's a level of knowledge you should have for a beginner, and there's a level of knowledge you should have for someone who has been in this system for a very long time. So if you're not talking and they're noticing a knowledge gap, that means you've not connected to what you're trying to own. Then it's a no. It's not connecting. There's
Yeah,
a disconnect somewhere, and you cannot even
truly.
move further from there. So they are saying, like, let's say there's an application, and the application is saying East Africa, and because it's virtual, you're claiming East Africa.
Yeah,
It's not necessary. Even if you write one location in East Africa, and then or you visited East Africa before, and they start asking you questions, you cannot defend it.
you won't be
So
able to
that's how it
defend it.
is. Yes, that's how it is with the Yali program. So I
Yeah,
think for someone who wants to apply, you've known the things you can do, but most importantly, do more of them. Don't be that person who you've done one in 2015, and it's just the only thing you can make reference to. So in 2015 we did this. 2015 is long gone. What have you done again? And
hmm,
Yali is interested in community. Anything you want to do in your application, there should be community, because Yali is not interested in serving you. You can know all of these things. Who are you giving it to? Tell them where
yeah.
you're giving it back to. What is the
How do you
demography?
translate everything into,
Yes,
impact?
they are so interested in knowing the people you want to impact, the demography, their gender, as even as far as knowing their location. Is it rural, urban, suburban?
Sure.
What kind of people are you going to? So if you're coming to Yali, be very clear. And another thing you should be clear about when you're trying to write your application is your change program, your impact program. Who are you reaching? So like this program, I had during my interview, I had told them that I have a community, and I know that I am coming not to learn for myself alone. I would learn and give back to this community. So my goal is knowledge transfer, because talking with these people, they would understand what leadership is, how they can lead themselves. And from them too, I get to their own community. But even if I don't get to their own community now, they can carry this message to their own communities. And people are also knowing, and more people can also know about the Yali program and get to register. And this is exactly what we are doing. So if you say
Yeah,
this is what you will do, will you do it?
sure.
So don't write
Yeah.
some things that are really big, or some kind of elephant project. Then in the end, you're trying to blame them, or you're
Hmm.
blaming the situation.
Yeah,
Oh, I had
you
a
won't
big
be
plan.
project. Yeah, you
I
won't
had
be
a
able
big
to. Yeah,
plan, but you
it's the
couldn't do
impact
it.
on the people. So simple yet impactful, and then yeah, you can put in a good application. Again, I would want to also add, like, what do you even stand to gain in all of this? Some persons would be like, okay, you want me to, yeah, you're encouraging me to apply, to get in, tell my stories and all of that. But what do you even gain from all of this? I think I could, speak from my own experience so far because it's been almost 6 years, and I would say that it was more like the right opportunity for me at the time because it exposed me to a lot of vibrant young Africans, young West
I
Africans
I think I need to
doing
come in here, everyone. It first exposed you to Accra. So let's not miss the fact that you were at the Accra Center, right? It
yeah,
exposed you to Accra.
exposed me to the beautiful city of Accra, and I would say that I met amazing people. Yeah, I met amazing people on the program. People that till today we've built a strong network. We've collaborated on projects. We've met outside Nigeria, doing different things and all of that. And these people are professionals in their own right. You know, a whole lot that you could reach out to get professional counseling advice and all of that, and even get to collaborate on impactful project, community projects that you could take on. And then some persons even develop very personal relationships from that exposure, from that connect. And I would say that it's something that if you don't have, when you see the application and you feel you go through the eligibility criteria and you feel you have what it takes, you should, take the opportunity, take the chance, apply. And who knows, you might be one day speaking to other people on how to get in. Yeah, and now
Sure.
welcome back.
Welcome back, Nana. Okay. You can unmute your mic so we hear you.
Yeah, I'm back. I had issue with my network connectivity.
It's back, one of those
What's a digital program without network issue, right?
I know,
Because
right? Yeah.
yeah, so you were
So
saying,
yes, right. So I was saying that it's very important that we keep like records of everything that we do and not think is irrelevant. Like me in some few years back, I felt it was very unnecessary to be taking pictures and posting them because, okay, I'm doing something out of my own benevolence. So I don't see why I should magnify it on the socials. But it brings me back to what we once said that it's a way of showing credibility and track record of actually doing something so that if anything, they can just go back there. So someone mentioned to me, and I think I feel I agree to what the person said. LinkedIn should be like your resume dump. So anything you do, you just go and dump it there. It doesn't matter if you get the likes, if you get the repost. That shouldn't be the concern. That should be a way of you tracking what you've done, so that even when you forget in some few years that you once did this, you can just revisit your page and check and be able to say, indeed, you were involved in these activities and you did these things and the impact that you were able to make. So, yes, I agree to the aspect of you being very detailed in your application and not leaving any stone unturned, because at the end of the day, it's a way of showing that you are making impact and you are a leader in your own right, and you are also looking forward to building on that little experience so that you can make maximum impact in the future. So don't underplay anything that you do so far. Yeah.
amazing. So the focus should not just be on the big things. We have people who are leading from the bottom and they are really doing great things, right? So
Exactly.
don't wait until you're the CEO of the CEOs of the CEOs. You
Yeah.
can still be where
Exactly.
you are and you have results to show for the things you've
Mhm.
done, especially the things you
Simple
did
and very
Right.
consistently.
impactful.
Yes.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah.
Okay, so it's really interesting speaking with you, even if I cannot see you. I'm sure you've learned a lot about the Yali
Right.
program. And we came from Nigeria and Accra to come and talk to you today. So this your Nana is your virtual tour guide in Accra, and
I
I
know,
am Rilwan.
right?
We're
Yeah.
repping you from Nigeria. So this knowledge is
Yeah.
it's really helpful, I believe. And if you're planning on applying, I think we're already at cohort 50 on the Yali program. So it's fast
Yeah.
paced. So if you know you want to apply for the Yali program, Start doing something now. And it's really interesting. We have a lot of tracks. So if you're already in business, you can still apply. There's a provision for you. If you're that person, you don't have to be in the community engagement space to apply. If you're in business, you can apply. You have a product you're doing, you have a product you're selling, or probably you sell services, different ways of selling what you're selling. And this business is really helpful to the community. Remember, the goal in everything is community. Who are you serving? If you're in politics or governance, influencing change, introducing policies, please
Yes.
apply. If you're in the community engagement space, please apply. But the most important thing is having proof of your work, because you need it,
Sure.
and tell your stories well. So it's a wrap from all of us today, and we are glad you joined this fireside chat. So the recording is available, so you can come back to it anytime. Know that Yali is talking to you, because we are all representing Yali right here. And we
Right.
need you to come on board, because we need more change makers. So that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us, Real One and Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you too for having us.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having us here. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
it's a
We got
wrap.
start with Ghana.
Yes,
Right.
we got to between
Yeah.
Ghana.
Sure.
All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.